Hi, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you've joined me today. I'm Kelley Pitts, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Lubbock, Texas. And I am thrilled to be inside crafting and not outside in the icy, slushy, just starting to melt kind of ice and snow that we've had for the last few days. But it was a wonderful weekend because I got to attend the virtual card retreat from Stampin' Up! And they did an incredible job. The staff, the designers, the concept artists, the presenters, everybody. It was just incredible. It was a lot of information and a lot packed in. So I highly recommend if they do another retreat, which I think they will soon, I think they'll do another one. I'm going to sign up, I'll tell you right now. But it's amazing. So I recommend you signing up for the next one. And I also recommend still getting this retreat. You can get it even though you missed the live this weekend. You still get the whole box of goodies and with all the products and dies. And let me show you real quick the main things. We get an exclusive stamp set that's only for the people who buy this retreat. And then we got another stamp set and die set that coordinate that we used all throughout the retreat for all 15 cards we made. We got all the envelopes, all of the paper, the two-tone cardstock, the regular DSP. I mean, tons of and embellishments, everything to make all 15 cards. So, and then you'll have supplies left over, and of course, be able to use the stamp set and dies too. So you can still get all the information, and it really might even be easier to go at your own pace and not feel rushed with the live to try to keep up. But Eileen and Tanya and I got to do it together on the first day, and then yes, Tanya reminded me. Yes, they have said that there is another retreat in the works, so we're excited about that. But we got to get together on the first day and craft together, but the weather didn't let us do that on the second day. So we all kind of did our own thing and finished up our cards. It did take me an extra full day to really finish everything the way I wanted it, adding wink of selling, adding embellishments, and making sure our envelopes were decorated, all that stuff. But it was an amazing retreat. And Tanya really did like going at her own pace. So there's nothing wrong with missing the live and still paying. You still get a lot of value from the retreat. And the link to that is in the YouTube description. They won't let us do it on Facebook, I don't think. Maybe they let us put that one link. I'm not sure. So anyway, I'm glad you're here, whether you're watching live on YouTube or live on Facebook, or if you're watching the replay. I'm thrilled to have you. These are really over the top cards. Tanya called them plus 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 cards. So they really are. They're amazing. This is not an easy retreat for brand new beginners that you pay money for and then go, oh, I don't know if I got my value. This one, you learn a lot. These are techniques I never would have put together. Some of them I'd tried before, but it's been years. Some of them were new to me. So it was an exciting event. And if you have any questions about it and would like to chat about it, just contact me. But we are about to go through cards 13, 14, and 15 that we did at the retreat out of the total of 15 cards. So I've done all the other videos prior to this one today, and y'all can go back and watch those if you're interested in watching those replays if you missed the live. So thanks again for tuning in. I will switch the camera over to just the cards, and we'll start with 13, which is a doozy. I mean, it is over the top, I tell you. Okay. First we have, let me just chat a minute about this card. This is designer series paper that was just secrecy and white. Okay. There was no color on here. We went in and took a blending brush. I'm going to show you and do a sample, but I'm going to do an overview real quick and then I'll do a little more detailed. But we used a blending brush with some old olive just right kind of in the center that goes out, fades out a little bit, so they're not just white flowers. Then we colored in with the Stampin' Blends with Calypso Coral. Then this was a technique I had not done, where you just use your blends marker, dot, 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 make that little circle around the green, and then did the same thing on the Calypso. Can you see those? Whew. Okay, so that's a pretty background. Then we embossed the friend on Secret Sea two-tone paper. Then we had a frame that was a rectangle, and we turned it into a mitered looking frame that was a square. And I'll show you how we did that. Then we die cut this floral bouquet and colored it with blends, I believe. Blends, or yes. No, we stamped it. We stamped those. Oh my. And then we took a needle and thread, a needle and the linen thread, and went through and wrapped around here and there. Oh, after we did this, we did the text block for texture in that corner first. So I'll kind of show you a little bit of that. And then tied the, I did the linen thread. I'm not sure if they did that on their card or not. Let's look. Let's see. No, they did not have that on theirs. But they did the wrapping the linen thread with a needle, which was amazing. I used my old crafter's kit, crafter's toolkit from Stampin' Up from years ago. Okay, are you ready? Now it's time to look at the middle of this card. Look at this. What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Is this not just an amazingly incredible card? Let me look at this again. Oh my gosh. You have all this, tons of detail on the front, and then you open it, and it is really, really a wow card. This is using the flip flaps. Thank you, Sharon, for tuning in again. I appreciate it. Yes, the flip flaps are great. And those were designed for scrapbooking, but we learned in this retreat how to use them for card making. So we're going to show you a little bit of this. Each of these labels were embossed onto a Secret Sea die cut. We die cut it out with one of the dies that comes in the set. Of course, this is the smallest one. It's longer, but thinner. So, do y'all want to learn how to do some of that? Would you like for me to share a little bit? Okay. I'm assuming there's a yes out there, and I'm just not seeing it yet. Oh, yes, definitely. That whoever gets this card would have to be really, really special, and it must be for a special occasion. Then we also did the envelope even to match with the little flower, the matching flap, everything. Oh, it was over the top, over the top. Okay. Let's talk about the frame first, since I have it in my hand. Why don't we do that? Because I hadn't thought about how to do this before. But what we did was cut all of these from the corner, the outside corner, to the inside corner. Okay? On these two sides. In fact, I think we did it on all the sides. I'm not sure. Let's see. It would be fun to do shakers in the flip flap, Sharon. Yes, it would. Did we cut all four corners, or did we just cut the two? We had to, because we've got cuts there. But I think we glued it first. I'm not sure. I know we made the frame like this. I went across. Oh, I think we did it like this. That's what we did. No. It was only this last weekend. Tanya, are you watching? We only did two corners, then glued, then did the last two corners. All right. So did we glued this like that, right, Tanya? On the grid paper. And then we cut those and moved it down here on top. Or do we do the corners? We only did 2 corners, then glued, then did the last 2 corners. Okay, Tanya, you might need to explain that. I'll come back to this in a minute if Tanya wants to tell me, because Sharon did hers in a different way. So, which is just great. That's what we're we're all creative people, so we're coming up with new ways. I was just wanting to show them the way we learned in the retreat. Okay, we're going to take we're going to stamp another flower. We're going to pretend that this is that paper they gave us that was just the black and white paper. Okay, and we're going to do that in Secret C. We'll come back to the frame. Didn't really need the whole thing, but that's okay. We're going to just do one little part. Okay. So that's Secret C, and that's what our paper looked like that. This paper right here looked like that when we got it, or similar. It was only the one color on white, at least. Okay, then we took our small blending brush and our old olive ink. I think, yes, it wasn't lemon lime twist, so it had to be old olive. And we just barely tapped on there. Guess we'll just do it on my pad. I don't see my... Tap it off like that. And then go kind of right around the center of that flower. And that's all we did. If you want to go a little further, you can, but that's about it. Okay, then we took our Calypso Coral. Well, let me show you. Yeah, okay, we'll do the middle. Calypso Coral Dark. And I just kind of did the little rounded areas in there. And we'll go ahead and do the little Calypso Coral Light flowers. And this is a new pen since I did that, I think, on my other one. And I kind of did these in a little circular motion too. Oops. Okay, that should have been dark. We'll fix that. Okay. And I'm going to put a dark center to those. Okay. And then you can watch the magic happen on here. Let's do the big one first. We're going to do the dark old olive. Dark or light? Was it light? Let's try light first. I think it was dark, but we're going to just touch our pen bullet tip. Make a ring around the rosy. Pocket full of posies. How cute is that? Oh my gosh. Can y'all see how cute that is and how easy that was to do? Have you ever done that like that? I had not. And I just realized I've got to plug my phone in or it is going to die on us. Let's see where that is. Right here. Sorry about that. Shaking the camera, but it's better than dying. Okay. Now, I think I had to use my dark Calypso Coral to make that work on the little flowers, where we just barely even lighter touch to make that a little bit smaller to kind of make the little inside ring around those flowers. Oh, look at that. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. So that's how we did that part. Now we're going to, and you can tell we colored that. We stamped that with the little leaf stamp and stamped those, or you could do blends either way. And then light calypso coral on the outside and then dark calypso coral on the inside of that, where you just take your marker, your blends, and you get in that little hole like that, just because these already have those holes punched. So you just kind of barely go around that to make that little dark ring on those. After you die cut that out of just white, that was white paper. Okay, so let's look at what Tanya said. We cut the top two corners at an angle, then with the angled edges toward the bottom and glued. Okay, let's see if we get, I should have watched that video again before I did this. Okay, the top, we cut the top two corners at an angle, then with the angled edges toward the bottom, glued, then did the same for the bottom. But if we just cut that, I kind of think we did opposite corners, maybe, instead of what I did. Instead of the two together there, we should have, I should have done one corner and the opposite corner. Maybe that's what we did. But anyway, how you can, the point is to, oh, sorry, move up silicone mat. Okay. Well, the opposite corners would have worked probably better. That's probably what we did, I think, because all of these, see, we have a miter mark at all of those. So they definitely overlapped. Maybe that was just cut off. I don't know. But I don't see any use in cutting these if we're just going to make that. I think we did opposite corners. But Tanya, if we glued up here, then why do we have these cut marks here? Then there's nothing to glue it on. So I think we did opposite corners. But we'll just come back to that. We'll say, we'll look that up and I'll do that in another video at another time. How about that? But anyway, that's how we did it. We measured it and then cut that off so that we made it a square. Then we took the, thank you, Tanya, for trying to explain it, but I think I've got to see it work. And then we did the texture with, I better clean this off, this little text block. I took that and stamped on here. Sorry about that, people. I just can't quite remember. We did a whole lot of stuff. And we just did it like in the top corner, you can see, just to get some texture with that text. Okay, so that we're going to deal with the frame another day and move on. So y'all know how to emboss. We want to show you, oh, the needle and thread. I had that big, you could use a regular needle, I'm sure, anything that the linen thread would go through. But I just took it and wrapped it around and through, and I had these tacked down with glue onto the frame first, and then went in and out with that thread, if you can picture what I'm doing, like that, in and out, and made those big loops on there all the way down. So however far you wanted to do it, if you wanted to do it all the way around or just partial, whatever, I just used a big long needle from my crafter's toolkit and did it that way. Okay, now let's see. On the inside with the flip flaps, these are, have y'all used these before? I am using them on the Valentine class that I'm supposed to do tomorrow. I hope the streets are uniced by then. Thank you for loaning me these, Tanya. I will get yours to you as soon as we get my delivery, my order that's not here yet. Okay. I'm just going to tear that whole thing open because I can't seem to open it any other way. I'm getting tired. Okay, flip flaps are, as you can see, they are great for scrapbooking. You can put little memory keeping stuff in there. And then they have adhesive on one side. So what we did was took just the white cardstock, and before we attached the green, we opened this up. Let's see if it's this way. Yeah, this way. So we folded that back, and then this adhesive comes off. So we stuck the adhesive. Nope, not that way. Had to be this way. We stuck it that way. Yep. Stuck the adhesive down right here. So you have the flap. And then we put the green over it so you couldn't see where those flaps came from. So we used one of those on both sides. After we cut this piece of paper, which was a 3x6 piece of that same DSP, and we had colored it already. So both of those were 3x6, and you score it at 3 and fold them in half and stick them in these little pockets so that you have the design on the front and the back. And then we have the labels that were embossed in white, and I attached those with glue dots. I tried with liquid glue and it didn't really stay. And then I kind of went rogue a little bit. I'm not sure what they did on the inside, but they I don't know exactly what they did. I don't think it was this though. But I just did the text inside and some of the little flowers, and then that's it on that one. Isn't that amazing? Love doing that with the little flowers. So thank you all for your help on that one. 13. Now we're going to move on to number 14. Oh, and one more thing. I forgot to put these on until I just saw their little sample. And they put these little flowers, they put a few of these around. And I was going to show you what they showed us, the way I did it and the way they did it. I was taking these flowers, I wanted to curve them up a bit. And I was just taking them in the palm of my hand and using the putty end of my take your pick tool and just going whoop, like that. Okay. And then sticking that on the roll of glue dots, like taking this to the dot, like I always try to do on embellishments, taking it to that dot. We'll just go ahead and do it. And then you peel that off with the glue on it and stick it wherever. We're going to stick it on here because that way I can move it later. See, and now it has some little texture. It curls up a little bit. Okay. And then they suggested doing it a very similar way using your little score tool. It could be the score tool you change out on your take your pick tool, or you can use the one on your simply scored tool if you have it. And you can just go like that with your mat underneath your Stampin' Pierce mat. I'm just going to do it on the corner. And they just rubbed like that to get it to curl up. But I thought it was easier to just go like that with the putty end. So either way you want to do, you could add little flowers like that if you'd like on that card. Okay. I think that's it on there. Now we're ready for number 14, which is this card. And isn't that cool? That is a whole different style. Isn't this amazing? Oh, Sharon just said she used tear and tape to adhere the labels to the flip flap. That's great too. Yeah, tear and tape or glue dots. But I mean, yeah, I would not try to use seal and liquid glue did not work. So, okay. This one was another fun one and a totally different style than the rest of them have been, right? Very, very flexible. This whole thing had so many different fun techniques that we learned. Okay, this is the one. And I added a layer of yellow of the, I don't know if it's lemon lolly or darling. It's supposed to be light darling duckling. I don't know. One of the two-tone papers they gave us in yellow. That, I don't know. Whichever one it was. I don't know. But they gave us this template that I showed you on a different card, I believe. At least we saw the hearts one, and we used this one on that one that had the little die cuts on it that was green and yellow and Secrecy. But we took strips of paper that were already cut, and these are, I believe, 3/8 of an inch. And you always start at the bottom, and you just wove it in and out like that. And I didn't make a lot of strips. I just made one to show you how that worked. And then we wove them in and got them all straight across. And then we took the side where they all were. See, like this side doesn't have, this is 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. So the side where it has it all the way to the edge, we took that side after we got them all woven, and we glued right behind here, glue, 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 like that. So they were all in there. Then we went to the other side, and these guys, see, this one has a larger, this just goes over. It doesn't, see, this one, both ends are hidden, and this one end is not hidden. It just goes over. So you have to just be careful and just lift that second one up and put glue there, glue it down. So you just make sure they're all woven first. Then you trim these edges off. After you've glued this side, then you even this side up, glue right there, then trim it. And then you can attach it very carefully by adding little bitty mini dimensionals where they won't show on there, which took some time. So another special person would get this card. All right. And then we just die cut. The dies have, this stamp is all one with these 3 leaves. And then there's a stamp. Let me just show you those stamps so it'll make sense to you. So we have the stamp in lemon lime twist, and then we did this little inside piece in old olive. And then we cut it out with a die that just cuts that out. Isn't that cute? Then we took our needle and linen thread again and went behind here, like on this back side. You'll go through, pull it around, and then you have a cross. Then you come around the other way and have your little cross stitch. It's not really cross stitch, but you know what I mean. To get that little X on the front there. And I just did it in the three pieces. They did theirs in a little bit different spots, and I'm just not a white on white girl, so I did the yellow border to bring out that. And I thought, in my mind, the darker color needs to be at the bottom, so I did mine light to dark. But it's still kind of ombre with the daffodil, lemon lime, and old olive, or either darling duckling, whatever this is. The yellow, the middle green, the yellow green, and then the green. So I did it the opposite way. Whoops, sorry. Wasn't watching what y'all were seeing. Okay. So that's the way we did that one. And then just simply on the inside they gave us one big piece of the 2-tone paper, and some people put theirs on one side or the other, but I cut mine in half after I stamped on it and decided I wanted a touch of that color on each side. And I had cut out an extra one of these, so I stuck that on there. Okay. So there's that card and a little explanation, number 14. And now we have another over the top card. These 3 were wowza, I thought. Stampin' Up just did an amazing job. Okay, this is another one with a flip flap. All right. And can you see this gold back here? It's kind of a matte gold. It's not a shiny gold like our gold foil paper is. This is embossed gold. And we had a sheet of paper this size, and we Versamarked the whole thing and then put gold embossing powder on the whole thing and used our heat tool, heated that whole piece of paper up. And all you see are these little bitty strips. But it was a complete piece of gold embossed paper, which was gorgeous, by the way. And then we took a little Post-it note and stuck it on the banner, and then put Versamark on it and gold embossed that tip when we gold embossed the congrats on that. This white floral bouquet, we just used petal pink on a blending brush in the middle of that to give that a little bit of color. This was the two-tone petal pink paper, and we tore that. You just take a strip, and I've shown you that plenty of times before, but I'll show you again. Just on a piece of paper, you always hold this side tight, or whichever handed you are, I guess. But I hold mine with my left hand and pull it up. And this is not a two-tone paper, so you don't see the white, but that's how you do it. We just tore that two-tone paper, because the two-tone has white in the middle because it has ink on both sides. One is dark and one is light. So that white shows there. So we had a little strip of that. And these were in strips. This is that same paper that I showed you earlier that had you can see the little, the background on it with the little teeny tiny flowers on crumb cake. And we stamped congrats in crumb cake on crumb cake, tone on tone stamping on the two wider pieces. And then stamped the same that you've seen on several videos, this little row of lines, line row. Stamped that on there in crumb cake on all three of these strips. And then Sarah was the one who showed us this. Sarah. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. Let's see. Sarah, the CEO of Stampin' Up, and her mom was one of the starters of it, the ones who really came up with the concept and put it together, and it's been around for 30 something years. It's amazing. Douglas, thank you, Tanya. And Sharon, I was just totally lost there for a sec. Okay, so that's how we got that look. And then to get the strips, Sarah showed us that she used a little spacer piece. Like, she took a piece of paper, she put these out, auditioned her pieces. That's what we call it, auditioning our pieces. Laid them out on that gold piece of paper and didn't glue anything, kind of got them where we wanted them. And then she put obviously a smaller slice in between these so that she was sure to get even stamping all the way. But that's how she did it. Oops, there we go. Does that make sense to everybody? And then I went back and put Wink of Stella on there. And okay, the flip flap part. This was another piece of paper that we embossed in gold. It was a little smaller. And we cut out several of the smaller dies that are like this size. And then there's one that's like 3 clumps of that. And then used some of the little white flowers that were in that one template that I showed you and said that we had one extra. That's just like the heart one, wherever that is. Let's see, right here. The little flowers came out of one of those templates. Okay. So those, we gold embossed the paper first, then die cut them out. And then with the flip flap, we put it on, let's pretend this is the congratulations banner, okay? Or we have this. Let's use this. Okay, so we had already put congrats on it, and then we stuck. She actually scored this to get this to be square. She scored it at I don't know what the instructions were. I'd have to measure that and see, but probably cut off about 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch. She scored it and then folded it over like that. And then she ended up basically cutting that off. So you had this was cut off, but you put in, okay, she scored it first. I know what she did. She scored it about a 1/2 inch down, then filled it with all the goodies. And then we stuck some dimensionals in here with the backing on one side, not pulled off of the other. And you could stack them. I probably would stack them more so you have a little more movement in your shaker pieces. But she made a shaker card out of it. So after you score right here, then you cut this off, this flap off that has that sticky on there. Although I wondered why we didn't just use it to stick it with, but I don't know. Anyway, so you have this with the score line that's going to fold over and make a square. And then that is stuck to the piece right here that has congrats on it. Okay, does that make sense? So you've got your dimensionals here that are going to show through, and you got all your little pieces down here. But those pieces don't show because you're covering it up with this banner and that banner, which are stuck on with glue dots, I believe. I think I had glue dots. You could use tear and tape or glue dots, either one. And then this is popped up, I believe, with dimensionals. I've got a dimensional under there. I've got a dimensional, like a dimensional side there, sticking that to the paper there. Okay, then I added a linen bow, a linen thread bow. I don't know that they had one. I don't think they did, but I just thought it kind of needed one. So there are things are very similar, but it's so much prettier in person than what you can possibly see on what they printed. Oh. Yes, Tanya said she would double stack hers too next time, because mine don't really shake a whole lot. They do a little bit, but not a lot. So if you double stack the dimensionals inside of here, that gives it a little more room for them to move around. I kind of think they don't move as much because this is embossed and it's almost sticky feeling a little bit with that embossing on there, but it is still, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I agree, Sharon. They really went over the top on this. Then I added just a couple of embellishments behind, and I actually glued one of my embossed little threesomes back there behind it so it would show through, and it kind of looks like it would shake, but it doesn't. So I glued that behind, and I glued these two white embellishments behind the flip flap so they would still show. And what do we do on the inside? Do I remember? No. Oh, I did emboss the Always and Forever, and then I put one of my little bouquet things, centers, that I didn't use in the front. I put it in here on top of a strip of the DSP. What do you think? Can you imagine? This took a while to do all three of these, the 13, 14, and 15. They took some effort, I'll tell you, but I think they show it. I can't imagine how much this would be to buy one of these in a store, but if I were selling one, I would charge a heck of a lot. That's for sure. Okay, well, if y'all don't have any questions, thank you so much for watching the videos, and I will turn it back around where I can say goodbye and show you the cards one last time. Amazing cards. Stampin' Up did an incredible job. Their concept artists and their presenters, staff, crew, everybody were just amazing, 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 amazing. Can't even get these all in.